This is old technology, and I'm going to tell you what, I've been into these things since I was about 12 or 13 years old. This is old technology. That's called a VCR for our younger viewers. While digging through all of our VCR footage, and I have quite a lot of it because I'm one of those old guys, we found a video that I think you're going to find interesting, and it is actually a video. Strap in, here we go.
This is Mark Novak, a gun enthusiast from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Despite the damp weather, Mark was able to give us a close-up look at a vintage black powder.
This video was filmed at the Backwoods Quail Club in Andrews, South Carolina, actually in a little burb named Reams. And I was asked to come up and bring this at the behest of the young man that's standing next to me, asked me to clean this gun up and bring it up to you.
This is a 1730s vintage English fowling piece. It was designed for taking birds and waterfowl, which is why it has such a long barrel on it. It has no rear sight, even though I do use it for deer hunting and shooting.
Oh yeah?
Shooting things on the ground and targets, and it's pretty good on milk jugs at 100 yards if you line your eyeball up about 3/4 of the way across the rear flat, kind of guess. So it's not very good at that, but it is pretty good for hunting birds. I have hunted pheasant with it, and intend to, I don't know, dogs, I guess, and rabbits. Some friends of mine.
Does it shoot pretty accurately?
It's a smooth bore, which means it'll...
Yeah, I know, it's not engraved, but it is what it is. You've got to consider the fact that I was at whopping 34 years old and I only weighed 200 pounds in this video. So it's amazing what time will do.
It'll stay with the rifle out to about 50 yards, and then after that, you know, they say you're doing good to hit a milk jug at 100 yards with it. To load it as a shotgun, it's just like loading a shotgun on a reloading press, with the exception of the fact, I have to get some patches here. Where do we go? Here we go.
Looks like a lot of pieces too.
Right. Well, with a shotgun shell, you would ordinarily have the gunpowder, you would have a wad, and then the shot, and then you would put a crimp over that. And we're going to do that, except we're going to load it all one at a time. Okay? My aim is to sit here and catch my powder. You always load a black powder gun from a powder measure, because if for some reason there was a spark in this chamber down below and it ignited the gunpowder, this makes a real good hand grenade. This would just shoot out across the parking lot. I might get burned, but it wouldn't explode and throw shrapnel everywhere. So the first thing we would do is we load the gunpowder into the barrel.
Approximately how much powder you put in there? Any type of...
Well, I run about 2 3/4 grams, which is right around 70 grains of 2F. It's a pretty good English load. The English discovered a long time ago that the optimum velocity for a shotgun shell was about 1,100 feet per second, and that the optimum shot charge was as tall as it is round. So I run about 70 grains of 3F, and then you put an overpowder wad, which is going to keep all the cooking oil on this cushion wad from getting into the powder. So the overpowder wad is a seal.
Cooking oil?
Yeah, it's the cooking oil just keeps the powder fouling soft. There are various things out there. There are various goops and mixtures that everybody uses, but I find just a little bit of cooking oil in a bag.
Wow,
it works really well. Okay, the cushion wad's purpose is to keep the shot from being deformed as you accelerate it from a standstill up to 1,100 feet per second. Shot's fairly soft, and it would tend to deform and get flyers out on the edge of your pattern. So put the overpowder in the overshot wad, put it down on the gunpowder. That's the first step of your shotgun shell. Take about 7/8 of an ounce of shot. This is a 62 caliber smoothbore, which works out right at about 20 gauge.
The flint mechanism on this gun works.
Okay, in a flintlock, you have a piece of stone, which is fairly razor sharp, and they discovered probably 400 or 500 years ago, that you could scrape steel shavings off the face of a piece of steel at white hot shavings, and you could ignite. That's how they used to start fires in England, and some guy figured out in France how you could take a piece of flint, mount it on a mechanism that would produce that action. It would ignite the powder. So when you would pull the trigger, and I have to remember this gun is loaded, so be very careful. when you pull the trigger, this will come forward. As it comes forward, it'll scrape on this, and it'll throw white hot sparks down into a small charge of powder. As the powder ignites, its radiant heat will go through the small touch hole here, which is a window, igniting the main powder charge and causing the gun to discharge. So you get a poof, boom. If something were to block this vent, you would get a flash in the pan, which is where the same comes from.
Right.
Where you get, all flash, no boom.
Right.
Other than that, this gun is loaded and ready to shoot, so I want to go ahead. It is a fairly damp day out here today.
It was kind of raining, drippy droppy, raining the whole day, kind of that drizzly sugar rain kind of thing. So we had to make sure we got on with this. Didn't have a single misfire though. Big, hot lock. You gotta love this thing. This gun would ignite. This thing makes sparks that are illegal in some fire districts.
We'll go up to the line and prime and maybe see if this lady up here will throw us a bird. We can shoot it.
I'm anxious to see it shoot.
Very good. This gun is a lot of things, but quiet it isn't. And several things could happen on a day this damp. When you pull the trigger, they once asked an Englishman why he wouldn't convert to the percussion system since flints were so unreliable in rainy weather. And his answer was that gentlemen don't hunt in such weather.
That's a good answer there.
So a variety of things.
During the filming of this, you should have figured out what the heck was going on in my mind. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to get seen on TV. I need to just describe this and do everything by the numbers.
It could happen. It could go flat. It could go foof. And 3 or 4 seconds later, it could go boom. Or I might actually hit the bird.
Now you're looking at a little bit more powder there.
Okay, this is a very, very fine granulation powder. We loaded, for instance, 2F, which is the granulation of the gunpowder in the barrel. This 4F here will take the sparks and instantaneously ignite, so we get a real hot woof go off in the charge. And after we shoot this gun, I'll pop it for you again. I'll show you what we're talking about. The pan cover would then protect that, and if I was going hunting, I'd put a little Vaseline over this to try to keep the water out of it, and put a casting over it to try to protect it from the elements. You get one shot, and then what you have is a club.
Club to chase it down with.
Right. Are you ready? Pull it.
Wow. And you hit it.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't see.
Yeah, you hit it. Yeah. It broke.
If you bring back that priming, Andrew, I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you look down in the pan area here, you'll see sparks. You see the sparks?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what happened is, if you were to put the gunpowder in there, you pull it. Do you like to shoot it?
This is a gun that you made yourself.
Yes, I did. I made this gun about a year ago. A friend of mine invited me to go do some hunting up in Florence, and I didn't have the correct firearm, so I've been building these since I've been about 14.
Where would you get the parts for such a weird, unique gun?
I bought the stock from a place up in Lodi, Ohio, called the Log Cabin when I was traveling through with my family. I bought the barrel. It's a 44-inch barrel from Track of the Wolf. And it already came octagoned around. I really didn't have to do too much lathe work. The lock is from L&R Lockworks in Sumter, South Carolina.
Right.
So it's a local lock. And then various parts from Track of the Wolf in Minnesota. They're just gunsmithing supply houses. I made the screws myself and the pins. It took about 100 hours to make this piece. I enjoy it. It shoots well. And it's a showstopper.
It is.
Hence the dress and conversation.
It's pretty.
Like I said, you want to shoot it?
Yeah, let me try it.
Okay, very good.
I'll load it back up.
We'll push to the bottom and seat it on the powder. Extremely dangerous if you have air between the gunpowder. That much air will blow that barrel up like a banana.
Wow.
It's just one of the dynamics of black powder. Black powder doesn't burn like a smokeless powder. It explodes. If you give it any room for the pressure to build up before it begins to move the shot column, it'll exceed the bursting strength of that barrel rather rapidly.
And that looks like a pretty thick barrel.
It is. It's the same phenomenon that'll blow a shotgun barrel on a winter day when you stick it down in the mud and you got an obstruction. Same phenomenon.
Wow. Well, I'm anxious to shoot. Are you ready? Boom! All right! Shooting this unique rifle was a great experience.
Smokeless powder is a passing fad. I got to tell you what, black powder shotgunning is an amazing thing. I would recommend that you guys try it. The whole time when we were filming that, and that was a long time ago. I'm going to tell you, I was 34 years old. I'm 56 now. My oldest kid was only 4 years old when we were shooting that. But it was fun to do then, and I guess I've been teaching my whole life, and I've really kind of enjoyed it. I hope that if any of you ever want to get into black powder shotgun, give me a ring and definitely give me some tips. Just remember, this video was shot a long time ago, and I've learned an awful lot about how to do it. And I kind of hope you've enjoyed this blast from the past. And I just felt like bringing it out and being humiliated for score. As always, it's been a pleasure to share a little piece of me with you guys. Have a good one. Funny how air comes in my nose and wisdom comes out the other parts. Yeah.